Most people think a lack of discipline is a character flaw, something weak, shameful, and unevenly distributed. Some people have it, others don't. But that view is completely misguided. What most people don't realize is that discipline, as it's commonly defined, goes against how the human brain is designed to operate, and that's not a metaphor, it's a neurobiological fact. The brain didn't evolve to prioritize long-term goals, abstract targets, or heroic self-control. It evolved for one thing: immediate survival. Over millions of years, humans adapted to conserve energy, seek quick rewards, and avoid unnecessary effort. In other words, your brain doesn't want you to go to the gym, it wants you on the couch. It doesn't want you to write or study, it wants you to open TikTok, because dopamine arrives faster. This isn't a defect. It's biology. And the problem is that modern society demands the opposite. To thrive, we're expected to be disciplined, productive, and consistent, creating an internal war between a lazy hunter-gatherer brain and a world that demands a focused, resilient supercomputer. When you try to force discipline through sheer willpower, you're basically trying to overpower millions of years of evolutionary programming with a few motivational phrases, and it won't work for long. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, offers one of the deepest insights into modern behavior. Real discipline doesn't come from force, it comes from design. The most consistent people, the ones who look effortlessly disciplined, aren't stronger or more motivated. They've simply built systems and environments that make the right behavior easy, automatic, and almost inevitable. They don't fight the brain, they learn how to work with it, and, in a sense, how to manipulate it. In the next few minutes, we'll dismantle the illusion of discipline, expose the mistakes you didn't even know you were making, and build a smarter way of thinking and acting, more human, more effective. If you've ever felt weak for procrastinating, or hated yourself for failing to stick to your own plans, this video won't judge you. It will show you that you weren't broken, you were just using the wrong approach. On the surface, discipline sounds simple: want something badly enough, stay focused, resist temptation. But once you look at how the brain actually works, that idea becomes not just simplistic, but naive. Your brain isn't invested in your long-term goals, it's invested in survival, comfort, and energy efficiency. For most of human evolution, our ancestors lived with scarcity and constant danger, where the only real priority was making it to the next day. In that world, the brain learned to prioritize immediate rewards, eat now rather than store for later, sleep more rather than take risks, avoid effort to conserve energy for emergencies. That ancient software still runs in you. When you try to wake up early for the gym, your brain interprets it as a threat to comfort and energy conservation. When you open your laptop to study or work, it quickly suggests a small detour into social media, because there, pleasure is instant, predictable, and guaranteed. The real issue isn't that you lack willpower, it's that you're stuck in a design conflict. Your brain wants to feel good now, while you want to grow in the long run. That's why James Clear's point hits so hard: motivation is overrated, environment matters more. If you constantly need willpower, you're fighting the brain's natural structure, and fatigue eventually wins. Then autopilot takes over, and autopilot always chooses the easiest path. Now that you understand your brain is wired to take the path of least resistance, you have to shift your focus to the real battlefield, your environment. Most people assume self-control is an inner, moral muscle, that if you train hard enough, it will become unstoppable. But the more uncomfortable truth is this: self-control is extremely fragile. If the environment is poorly designed, it collapses fast. Imagine this: you decide you're going to start working out, fired up, determined, ready to completely change your life. But the next morning you wake up and your workout clothes are wrinkled, stuffed at the very bottom of a drawer, and your shoes are still in the trunk of your car. It's cold outside, and the couch is only 3 steps from your bed. Your phone is already in your hand, and Instagram is already open. At that point, you're no longer choosing between good versus bad. You're choosing between easy to reach versus annoying and effortful. And you already know your brain will always pick the less effortful route. The problem isn't that you're weak, it's that you want to change your behavior while keeping an environment that constantly encourages you to do the opposite. And this leads to a concept that has reshaped how countless people understand discipline: choice architecture. Its core truth is brutal: human behavior is often determined by whatever is closest, most visible, and easiest to access. This isn't a willpower issue. It's behavioral engineering. For example, research suggests that simply placing bottled water at the front of a cafeteria, instead of in the back, can, without any campaigns or bans, increase water consumption and decrease soda consumption. What changes isn't the person, but the environment. When the healthy option becomes the path of least resistance, the brain doesn't fight nearly as hard. Apply that to your own life. If you want to read more, put the book on your bed instead of in a drawer. If you want to scroll less, turn off notifications, hide your phone, use blocking tools. If you want to wake up early to train, lay your clothes next to your bed the night before. Set up your environment like a trap, only this time, it's aimed at your own laziness. What you need to truly understand is this: discipline is never about trying harder. It's about preparing better. Truly disciplined people aren't necessarily stronger or more capable of, they're simply smarter about arranging their space, their rituals, and their triggers. They know that once the environment is set up correctly, good behavior becomes almost inevitable. They don't rely on, how much I feel like doing it today. Instead, they build a system, one that makes the right action easier and less energy-consuming than the wrong one. That's the key: stop betting on fragile willpower. Start acting like an engineer of your own brain, designing your environment on purpose. What takes deliberate effort today can become an automatic response tomorrow, once it's anchored the right way. But what if you could go even further? What if you didn't just remove obstacles in your environment, but actually crack the habit program your brain is already running on autopilot? That's what comes next: how to use habit stacking to hijack existing behavioral loops and turn them into allies of discipline. By now, you understand two brutal but important truths: your brain is wired to avoid effort, and your environment shapes behavior far more than willpower does. But even if you understand that, a more practical question still shows up: in real life, how do you turn a good habit I want to do into something I do almost without thinking? The answer is habit stacking. The human brain runs on habit loops: cue, routine, reward. And these loops already exist inside you, often without you noticing. You wake up and brush your teeth, you sit on the couch and reach for your phone, you walk into the kitchen and crave a cup of coffee. They feel effortless because they've been embedded into your automatic system. Habit stacking is simple, but extremely clever. Instead of building a brand new habit from zero, you attach a new action to the end of an old habit. You borrow a cue that's already deeply rooted in your brain, and use it to plant the new behavior, dramatically reducing resistance. Habit stacking is so powerful because it bypasses the hardest gate of all, starting. Launching an action costs more psychological energy than continuing it. Once you're in motion, inertia starts working for you. So instead of forcing yourself through with willpower, you leverage the momentum after you move, letting rhythm push you forward. What makes behavior stable is often not stronger self-control, but more consistent momentum. But be careful, habit stacking isn't about randomly stuffing any habit anywhere. It requires strategy. The new action you add must be short enough and small enough, ideally within 2 minutes. And it must be specific, not vague. For example, read 1 page, not read more. Most importantly, it must happen immediately after the old habit, with no gap in between. Your goal is to build a smooth behavioral track so your brain can flow into the next step with almost zero thinking. If you follow this logic, you'll gradually build a path where discipline becomes almost inevitable. You stop asking yourself every day, should I do it? Your body just does it. And that's the real victory. The right action happens before doubt appears, before laziness steps in, before excuses even begin. Even more interesting, these tiny, micro-habits, which look insignificant at first, compound exponentially over time. One day you look back and realize you've built an entire lifestyle out of a chain of small connected actions, and that leads to the next question. If this method is so powerful, why do you still procrastinate? The answer is this: procrastination isn't laziness. It's bad design. For many people, the word procrastination is almost synonymous with failure, weakness, lack of ambition. So the moment you procrastinate, you instantly start self-attacking. I'm lazy, I'm just not good enough. But that narrative is not only misleading, it's self-destructive. In James Clear's view, procrastination isn't a personality flaw, and it isn't laziness. It's more like a symptom, a signal telling you that your environment, habits, and system have been designed poorly. You procrastinate not because you don't want to act, but because, given the way your life is currently set up, acting feels too effortful, too boring, and too unrewarding in the short term. And as you already understand, your brain is wired to prefer fast rewards. So it automatically avoids tasks that look difficult, dull, time-consuming, or unclear in payoff, like studying, which requires focus and energy while the reward, knowledge, is abstract and delayed. Meanwhile, opening YouTube or Instagram delivers pleasure that is immediate and reliably consistent. That's where the four invisible laws of behavior change come in. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy to start, and make it satisfying to finish. When you apply these in real life, the difference is massive. Take studying every day as an example. If your materials are buried at the bottom of your bag, your desk is messy, the TV is on, and you start by planning to study for an hour, with no tracking and no reward, then the outcome is usually the same. You end up scrolling short videos and feeling guilty afterward. But when you lay your materials out in advance, add a small layer of pleasure to the process, a drink, music, Start with a 5-minute goal that's almost impossible to refuse, and then mark your progress and give yourself a small reward afterward. The behavior becomes far smoother. The point is never, you became stronger. The point is that you learned how to design the right behavior. When the system is bad, discipline is an illusion. When the system is well designed, discipline becomes the natural result. But you might be thinking, I get all of this, environment, systems, friction, but the problem is, I still don't like these tasks. I still hate waking up early. I still resist writing, studying, training. And that leads to the question that actually changes your destiny. What if you didn't need to, like discipline, in order to become disciplined? What comes next is the most common, and most misleading, myth to dismantle, that you must love the process to keep going. Truly stable people aren't more passionate. They're the ones who make the right action inevitable. In productivity culture, there's a popular, and dangerous, idea: you should enjoy the process, you should fall in love with routine, love the journey, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. It sounds beautiful and inspiring, but it's not true. Worse, it makes people who are already struggling to climb out of a low point feel even more defeated. The harsher, and more liberating, truth is this: you don't need to like discipline. You only need to make it inevitable. Highly disciplined people don't wake up every day wanting to do what they should do. They aren't excited about every task, and they don't have endless energy to maintain healthy habits. What they actually have is structure, even when they don't feel like it, even when their state is bad, even when their mood is low, the right behavior still happens. Take building a morning running habit. You may genuinely want the health, the body, the energy, but 9 days out of 10, you won't wake up with motivation. You'll want to sleep longer, you'll make excuses, the weather will affect you, and the habit dies again. The real difference isn't wanting it more. It's whether you've paved the path in advance so thoroughly that you almost have no option but to walk it. In the second scenario, running hasn't become more fun. It's still hard. It still demands effort. But you've lowered the resistance to almost zero and built the structure to be extremely strong, so running actually becomes the least effort path in your life. The decision gets made before desire even shows up. That's what disciplined people are doing. They don't rely on, do I feel like it today? They build a system that still runs even when their state is bad. The key difference is here: you're not trying to fall in love with discipline. You're trying to make important behaviors so automatic, so integrated into daily life, that doing them becomes easier than avoiding them. This is the dividing line between living on motivation and living on systems. In the world of motivation, everything depends on mood, energy, and temporary excitement. In the world of systems, action is the default option. James Clear summed it up with a brutal line: you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So your future won't be defined by your intentions, it will be defined by the habits you repeat day after day. The more automated something becomes, the less it depends on unstable motivation. That's why, I don't like routines, or I hate waking up early, stops being an excuse. No one needs to love these things. You only need to integrate them into your life until they stop being a choice and become part of who you are. And the moment you talk about identity, you enter the final, and most transformative, level, discipline isn't the destination, it's a reflection of who you believe you are. If your self-image doesn't change, any change at the level of habits, schedules, or behavior is hard to sustain. James Clear emphasizes that the deepest layer of behavior change isn't what you want to achieve, but the kind of person you decide to become. Identity shapes habits, and habits reinforce identity. It's a loop. If you want to become a disciplined person, you start acting like someone who believes they are disciplined. Those tiny daily choices that seem insignificant are actually votes for your new identity. Every time you train even when you don't feel like it, every time you choose reading over scrolling, every time you do it, even for just 2 minutes, you're telling yourself, I am the kind of person who does what needs to be done. That force runs deeper than any hype video, any technique, any complicated plan, because you're not just doing something differently. You're becoming a different person. And once identity shifts, behavior follows in a far more natural way. So discipline isn't a talent, and it isn't some mysterious ability reserved for a few people. It's more like a byproduct, the natural result of well-designed systems, intentional environments, and a stable, consistent identity working together. When these elements align, discipline stops being a daily war of brute force and becomes your new baseline. At this point, you really have one choice. You can keep blaming yourself for not being strong enough, or you can start today building the environment, habits, and identity that make discipline inevitable. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop punishing yourself for not having infinite willpower. You don't need perfection, you need consistency, so the system can do most of the work for you. And I'll ask you one last question. What is the first habit you're going to rebuild today? Write it in the comments, because the act of writing it down is already a vote for your new identity. That if this video helped you see discipline differently, don't forget to subscribe, because this channel won't just give you slogans.